Assalamualaikum. Waalaikumsalam.
We are five Muslim women from different generations. Professionals, mums, married, and single. Some born, some converted. And we have a story to tell.
You might as well talk about it in a healthy way.
From our home to yours, this is The Bag.
They gaslighted me constantly.
I really think we need to break down that structure.
You're supposed to help the oppressor by getting them to stop oppressing.
There is nowhere in the Quran that states that a woman cannot be a leader.
You have to come from a position of love.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday. Please remember to like, subscribe. We have one more show before we take a break, and then we'll be back before you know it. But please like and subscribe to the Dean Screen. I would like to introduce our guest for this show. Her name is Boshia, and she's a transformational speaker, model, artist, teacher, creative coach, and Afrofuturist from the great city of Newark, New Jersey. Welcome, Boshia.
Thank you for having me.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Boshia.
So, because of our special guests, I would definitely like to introduce our topic today, which is about music and dancing. So I would like to ask you ladies, what do you feel like constitutes as music, and is listening to music or nasheeds haram or something that you partake in? Anyone who would like to go?
Can we answer like what we do? It's not really what's supposed to be done, supposedly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, yeah, because sometimes, right, like we might do things, but we still might have cognitive dissonance and think that it's wrong, or, vice versa. So tell me about your experiences.
So, I love music for a long time, pretty much most of my life. And I do remember music being a huge controversy for me growing up. Definitely the cognitive dissonance that happened. I think it was every Ramadan that I successfully went without music for 30 days. And it was really, really hard. But I always remembered, like, the next day on Eid, when I put that headphone in and I listened to that first song, it was literally like, okay, I can breathe again. That's just my experience, though.
I mean, I think that, I converted to Islam, right? So, I was like 25 years old when I converted to Islam. So definitely music was a major part of my life before I became Muslim, and then I became Muslim and, I learned that, okay, music is the adhan of Shaytan, et cetera, And it took me a long time to get to a place where, I didn't listen to music anymore, I couldn't even throw my music away, right? So, because I had like Beres Hammond and, Mays and, Frankie Beverly and Mays and Luther Vandross. I had all these records and I just couldn't, I didn't have the heart to throw them away. So I literally gave I gave my music collection to someone else,
Oh, that's so cute.
Because it was like, I need someone who's going to appreciate this stuff. I can't just put it in the trash, So
was it vinyl?
Wow.
I really want to know, like, was it CD or vinyl?
I had oh my God, I had so much vinyl music. There's this group that I'm thinking of in my head, right? But what's her name? Lauryn Hill. What was her group? Back in the day?
Fugees.
Right. So, I had all their music.
That.
Like, I had like some Michael Jackson musics from, Bob Marley. Bob Marley was my boyfriend, so,
Not just you, girl.
No, he was my boyfriend, okay? So, but I think
Thank you, Maria.
I would say that now I try not to listen to music because I feel like it interferes, you know, like when I listen to music and I make salat, the music is going around in my head. So I kind of, you know, opt not to do music now.
Well, I listen to music, and it's never been a form of cognitive dissonance for me. I came, once I became a Muslim, it wasn't. My mom actually was raised in a Christian sect that didn't believe. Well, they didn't believe in music. In fact, in the church, they only sang a cappella. They didn't believe in any kind of instrumentation, and they didn't believe in dancing. But she did not, raise us with that. And when I became a Muslim, I read some of the opinions on music, and there were people who said it was haram. There were people who said it was, halal. And for me, if it doesn't get in the way with my spiritual life, if it doesn't get in the way of my relationship with Allah, I don't see a problem. I don't see a problem with it.
I personally think that it brings me closer, but
Yes.
I think that that's a personal thing. Obviously, Sister Khalida, if you don't think music will help you in that way, it's not, but for me, the way that I connect with music, it's like I could be in the store dealing with my own personal issues, and then a song that I'm hearing in the background, it speaks very loud to me. It's like my own personal experience where I'm like, whoa, those are the exact words that I needed to hear right now. It's almost like it was answering my exact question in my head. I'm the only one that heard it, So I do think that humans in general, we have a very strong connection with music. I mean, we don't need to use words to connect with things. And music is the most powerful form for us to be able to connect with ourselves.
Yeah. Rob, if you can roll the clip of Brother Habib Al-Jeffrey, can you roll that clip, please?
أنت شخصيا ليس لديك حرج من سماع الموسيقى؟
لا، هي مسألة خلافية والخلاف فيها معتبر، ولا أرى من حرم الموسيقى متشددا، كما لا أرى أن من أباح الموسيقى مميعا. هل المسألة قطعية؟ قولا واحدا ليست قطعية. نعم، أكثر العلماء حرموا سماع الموسيقى بناء على ما شاع من اقتران الموسيقى بالخمر والزنا والأشياء الأخرى. وهناك من العلماء الأكابر كحجة الإسلام الغزالي، كشيخ عبد الغني النابلسي الحنفي، كابن حزم وغير أكثر من 30 عالم ارتأوا أن حكم سماع الموسيقى متصل بأثرها على المستمع، قد يأثم وقد لا يأثم في السماع، على أن الإكثار منها بحيث تصبح هي الديدن عوضا عما فيه نفع، هذا محل نظر. طيب أنت لم تقتنع بهذا الكلام ورأيت أنها محرمة، حقك لا تسمعها يا أخي. غيرك رأى أنها ليست محرمة وهو يستند إلى من يستند إليه من أهل العلم ولهم أدلتهم التي لم تعتد بها أنت. احترم الذي قال هذا القول.
I agree with him. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like that's a really good video that summarizes. He's essentially saying, like, if you feel like music is haram and you feel like you're sinful when you listen to music, then don't listen to it. On the other hand, respect people whose opinion is that you can listen to it, and if it doesn't lead to you doing anything sinful, then you should be allowed to listen to it.
But that's because it's intentional. Everything that you do has to be intentional. So when you listen to music, you have to be intentional. Listening to all
Yes.
these songs with these terrible messages, they do something to me, and I don't like it. So,
Right.
Boshia, what do you have to say?
I think it's, it's very apparent that like some music has low frequency, right? Like there's so many studies about sound and even how vibrations can form like sacred geometry. And it's so important that we actually like go deeper into that, like sound, even if you think about where music comes from, it comes from sound. And I think about how the Quran and how all of the frequencies of the Quran is made to heal the body. Music is a form of healing for some people, and it does incorporate sound. So if something is low frequency, clearly it's going to make someone do low things. So it's very important to like understand the science of sound. I call myself like a sonic healer. Like that's like the space of music I want to consider myself in, because there's so many different frequencies that we don't pay attention to. Just vibrations. Like how does the alarm on the top of the police car make you feel? Like, these are things we need to tap into and approach it like scholars, like really understand and break it down like sound. And then like, when I look at different opinions, it seems that there is a variety of opinion, but I don't come from a madhab where like I believe that music is haram. So I think it's definitely important to tap into like all of these different sciences we have available, and our body heals, you know, just from words in general, but melodically it helps our body to sing and be joyous. It's so important to understand the depth of it. And I know I'm getting philosophical, so I'm gonna stop. But
you're supposed to get philosophical. This is a philosophical conversation.
It is, and that actually leads me to my next question. Like, I feel like music has like a spiritual healing for a lot of Black people. So to me, there's a connection between music and spirituality. And that's why, you know, when we look at West Africa, right, when we look at, you know, different places in Africa, they use instruments as a storytelling narrative, or even, you know, for poetry, or even, you know, they just use music. It's a part of their spirituality. It's a part of their DNA in a lot of ways. So like, I really respect what Boshia is saying. So do you all believe that there's a connection between, you know, spirituality and music in any way?
So Triniana just made a comment. She actually just asked.
Sorry, the hadith clearly says, right, that music is the adhan of Shaytan, right?
One hadith says that.
What hadith was that? Because it wasn't in the Quran.
The point is, right, that it's connected. That is definitely a connection to spirituality, right? And if you listen to, so I don't disagree that music is connected to a person's spirituality, right? You know, there are the lyrics and the words in a lot of music. To me, that's definitely the adhan of Shaytan. When you listen to a lot of what people are listening to, right, that's not calling them to anything that is good, right?
Okay, so what if they are calling people to good? Like,
I'm not going to sit here. Sorry?
So what if they are calling people to good, like these nasheeds say that they're doing?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I never listen to music, and, you know, because, you know, if I hear a song that I haven't heard for 30 years, I promise you, when I hear it, I'm going to know every word in that song, and I'm going to be struggling not to start singing, right? Do you understand what I'm saying, right?
Does that mean that the Shaytan's in you, since, you know, you never really got rid of it, since you still remember the lyrics from 30 years after?
Well, it doesn't say that it's in you.
No, I'm just saying, like, are you a hafiz of Quran, though?
No, I'm not a hafiz of Quran, but
I'm not trying to challenge you in any way. I'm just asking.
In saying this, why is it easier for you to memorize those songs and never forget them? And you memorize a surah, right? And if you do not,
if there was some melody to the surah, maybe we would memorize it. I'm just saying.
Say again?
If there was like a melody to the surah, maybe we would memorize it. That would be.
But remember, we're not allowed to sing the ayats of the Quran.
But we do sing. We do sing. Whenever I go to prayer, they're singing those ayahs. Mm-hmm. Like, and it does make it.
It's definitely
the rhythm makes it easier to remember.
Well, I also think it's in another language. Also, I don't, you know, I know a lot of songs in different languages, but I don't know them by heart because they're not in my mother tongue. But one of the things that I've been thinking about, you know, listening to folks is that one of the things that the speaker brought up in the video was this idea of what in substance abuse is called coupling behaviors. Okay, so like when my mom stopped smoking, she had to stop drinking coffee because when she smoked, whenever she smoked, she used to drink coffee. So drinking coffee made her want to smoke, right? So this is coupling behavior. And somebody had asked earlier, how do I know that music is, you know, not bringing me away from Allah or whatever? Because I don't feel called to sin. That's, you know, one of the main ways. I think that definitely if music was a part of your life and it was coupled with negative behavior, maybe you need to remove it from your life. But prescribing that for everybody else, that's something different altogether, right? I mean, I think that one of the problems that we have, something that I've noticed, you know, in Islam is that the most conservative, hardline Muslims are the main ones who come and say, you can't, you know, listen to music and you can't do this and you can't do that. And some of these folks, I've ended up finding out, were real wild style before they became Muslims. And so they need to have the strictest interpretation of the deen to keep themselves in check, which is not a problem. which is not a problem. But then prescribing that for every other Muslim, like while we've been doing this show, I've seen comments come up like, as Muslims, we don't ... Speaking for 1.5 billion people, that's tricky. That's real tricky. And yet people who are hardline have no problem doing that, right? And I think it's problematic.
I mean, when I was in school, right, you know, one of the things that one of the concepts that we embraced is that what is halal for one person is haram for another person.
Sorry,
and
this
what is
comment.
haram for another person is going to be halal for somebody else, just based on the simple fact that, you know, as you elevate through the deen, right, your practices and the way that you behave is going to be different, right? So for me, you know, when my sons were teenagers and they were listening to things, you know, Native Deen, or I mean, it was Native Deen back then, you know, I guess it's Dean Squad or whatever now, right? But listening to those things, for me, I didn't have a problem with them doing that, because I'd rather them do that than go listen to, you know, some
apple bottom jeans, boots.
Busted.
Triniana did it. She reminded me of the song.
Yeah, so
I would definitely want to add on to what you were saying, and just
Boshia, I can't hear you very well. Is your mic down?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you turn your mic up a little bit?
That's better. But
yep. Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying was, I believe that I've seen a behavior exhibited, especially by, you know, African American Muslims, African Muslims. They become Arabized, and I think that it's something where what's forgotten is that there's no stories about music being haram. There's stories about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ going into a town and his ears being like removed from sound because maybe it was going to be, you know, leading him in to that space or you know, what have you. But there's no stories that, like, there's stories about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ sitting down, enjoying culture, listening to music, and not judging people. And I do feel like a lot of Muslims, you know, want to say, oh, Islam is the best, but the way people are treated for things that they have maybe what some Muslims might consider a worldly, you know, thing to do or listen to music, do not accept that. And so keeping the distance keeps people away from Islam. And in the Quran, something I read that was really, really powerful was that Muslims were stewards upon the earth. And I have not been seeing that. And I feel like instead of worrying about, you know, of course it's our job to say to people like, oh, don't do this because it's haram, I'm protecting your soul, but also getting ourselves in check, because Allah will not change the position until we change other people, until we change what's inside ourselves. It's always about the work, the tasawwuf, like that Sharia law and all of that together. That's Islam, like that's practicing the deen. I don't really see that as much, like, and I'm a new Muslim. I became Muslim in 2015. I had to struggle with music. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, but then I said, okay, you know what? This is a gift Allah gave me. I'm gonna use it to give ibadah. So I
think I definitely think that your talents have a place. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? Because like I said, people have levels that they graduate to. You know, when I first became a Muslim, right, I couldn't just become a Muslim today and then just, you know, Beres Hammond, like, you know, my music was something that was important to me. I couldn't clean my house unless I had my music on, you know, and then I graduated from straight up music. I went to, okay, I'm gonna replace that with, you know, nasheed, you know, but like the retro nasheed that had music in it, right? I graduated to that. And over time, I've gotten to this place now where for me, music is not something that is important in my life. You know, maybe I'll go to some kind of celebration or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's not something, music is not an everyday part of I don't need music in my life.
Well, that's fine. And some people do need music. And I want to recognize the space of like, sometimes people do need music to get them through life. That's okay too. And sometimes you don't always graduate, right? So like, to me, musicians who are promoting positive narratives, they always have a space. It's not like a graduation to me. Like, I can see myself listening to Boshia's music when I'm, 70 years old. If you know what I mean, like, it's not, to me, it's not like a place of like graduation. It's just that's a part of like spirituality in a lot of ways.
I'll agree with you, Habiba. Oh, sorry.
Oh, if you want to make a comment, because I'm gonna move on to the next video, but if you want to make a last comment.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I agree. It's not necessarily a graduation, because some people might consider the fact that all of the music I was listening to, like even nasheeds back in middle school, could have been baby steps towards me listening to the music that I listen to now, or it could have been baby steps to me getting into some type of world that I shouldn't be in. There's people who think
clearly,
that, so it's not really a graduation.
Clearly, Dora, clearly.
Okay.
Come at me again. Come at me again.
Rob, can we roll the next clip?
The Prophet only permitted certain times the use of duff, that's an open-ended drum, in Eid or in weddings. But generally, all the other instruments are haram. There are various fatwas. Since the musical instruments are haram, a human being imitating the haram musical instrument, according to scholars, is also haram. And when Sheikh Utaymi was asked that, is beatboxing permissible? He clearly said, even imitating the haram instrument, the musical instruments with your mouth, whether it be drums, whether it be other instruments, it is forbidden, it is prohibited. So beatboxing is not permissible for the Muslims. It is not allowed that a Muslim should imitate the sound of the musical instruments, whether it be drums, whether it be other musical instruments, whether it sound. This is haram, and the Muslim should abstain from it.
Okay, there's so much wrong with what he said. First of all, who even asked him that question? He's not of African descent, no shade. But like, unless he claims to be of African descent, that's fine. But like, I don't know why someone would ask him a question that's obviously very Black centric, right? Maybe somewhat Asian, but is from Black, people, about beatboxing, and then he tells this to an audience. To me, it's like anti-Black, but that's another thing. But also, it's very interesting because when I took a physics class when I was in high school, we talked about what is the definition of a beat. All a beat is two different sound frequencies. So that could be
your heartbeat. Hello.
Exactly, your heartbeat, or somebody tapping their finger. That's a beat right there. When it's just more at least two sound frequencies put together. So to me, I don't even understand why someone asked him that question, and also I don't think they understand the science behind it. But would you all like to make any comments about that video?
I just want to say this is the same guy that talked about hitting your wife, as he interpreted in the Quran, is okay if she does do something wrong or if she refuses to give her body. This is the same guy. So for that reason, you are not credible. Done.
She said he was canceled. That's what that was.
Right. I mean, you see, my experience, my opinion, and the Islamic opinion that I accept is that the more music you have, the less Quran you have, right? And because the
memorized. That's where you're going, right?
What do you mean?
Not the actual understanding of the Quran or living by the Quran, right?
I know Hafizas in Africa that use drums and sing and do poetry and other instruments, and they have the Quran. Like I could think off the top of my head, like Senegalese people that I know that do this because they have Quran circles, and it's just more a part of their culture to like sit down and really memorize the Quran. So, and when I think of like Western society, it's not really that easy to be sitting there like memorizing like that. But
if you think of the society that we live in here, right here, okay, our Western culture, right? Music is so easily accessible, right? Music in the car, music on your phone.
In Arab societies too, but go ahead, go off.
Well, I'm not an Arab. I'm not in
I know,
Arab
but you're
society.
making that comparison.
So
of
what
like
I'm saying is that Quran is not so easy, right? And the time that you're spending, I don't know about you, but for me, when I stand to make salat, when I've been listening to music and I stand to make salat, that music is ringing in my head, right? And really what I want to be doing is I want to be focusing. I find it hard to really, the same way that music goes deep into me and is ingrained in me. What I would like for Allah and the remembrance of Allah to be that deep and that ingrained in me.
But can I just say one thing? Yeah, I know what you mean, but like to me, that's a matter of you not really being able to stop your thoughts, because sometimes I could not listen to music at all and I'm praying and I'm thinking about all the things I need to do in that day or what I need to do for tomorrow, because I can't slow down my thoughts. So to me, it's more about like not really being mindful or not really being able to have the capacity of like stopping your thoughts, because I have that issue all the time, especially when somebody else is leading me in prayer. Like it's so hard for me to actually sit there and concentrate. Like it takes a lot of effort. And this is without listening to music that day or the day before or whatever. But
let's talk about Hafiz of Quran, okay? Because they exist out here. And just because you know the Quran by heart in Arabic does not actually mean you're living by those standards. Okay, so to me, a surah, you know a surah when you live by that surah. If you don't live by it, you don't know it. I don't care if you memorized it or not.
I mean, there's hadith that backs up that.
No, but Quran is supposed to be easy for you to practice, and it can't be easy for you to practice if you're only focused on memorizing Arabic that you don't even understand.
Right.
But you should not be memorizing. The purpose of memorizing, right, is memorizing.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Understanding.
You're right.
So can I ask you a question, Khalida, if you don't mind? Is it Khalida or
the judgment?
Yes, Khalida.
Khalida, sorry. Do you feel? Oh, that's what your name means?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh? What did you say?
The judgment. Is that what your name means?
No.
Oh no. I was saying that about the comment that came across.
Oh,
the
my
screen.
bad.
I'm sorry.
No, Khalida means never ending because I don't stop talking.
Mashallah. So I wanted to ask you, like, do you feel when you talk to other Muslims that are still listening to music, do you feel that you're on a different level than them?
Again, I mean, I am definitely in a
saying, and I'm just thinking about, sorry to cut you off, but I'm thinking about what you were saying, and I'm trying to think, like, because that's a major problem as well. Like when we look at each other as like we're not, because Allah will humble us right back, right? And I think that what you were saying was so profound. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to like wrap that up, because I didn't want you to think that I'm trying to like attack you at all because you're my sister. But I was wondering that because this is the one problem I had when I became Muslim, and it hurt me to the point where I didn't feel like I belonged even with my own people. And so one thing I will say is that when I listened to hip hop and I heard Rakim, Eric B, when I heard, Lauryn Hill, can't forget about the Dean, Sarato Mustaqim, I didn't even know and put two and two together until I was able to listen to music, and then now go into a space where I'm learning about Pan-African history, and then I'm like, oh, what is this? Islam keeps popping up. Now African history. So for some people, hip hop is the starting point, right? And so I don't know if they've graduated. I'm not going to say that. I would never, because sometimes that's a part of the criteria and the curriculum so that you can become a Muslim as a Black.
So in answer to your question, right, it is never anyone's place to consider or believe themselves to be better than anyone, right? And the moment that you start thinking that, Allah will abase you, right? So and many people who have, that's the story of, there's a story of a sheikh who, he was a sheikh, and he ended up being a pig farmer, So Allah can elevate you to heights, and Allah can abase you to the lowest depths, right? So no, I don't consider myself, when I think about anything, it's not about, because like I said, when my children were listening to music, I didn't have a problem with them listening to Dean Screen or whatever it is. That's you and your choice, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us all with the freedom to make choices, right? And on the day of judgment, we all are going to be responsible for the choices that we make.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I can't dictate to you what you must and must not do. But I'm not going to sit here. I can't sit here and say, number one, I can't sit here and say I don't listen to music, right? Music is not a major part of my life. Music is not something that, oh my God, if I don't listen to music, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go crazy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if I go to a celebration and there's music there, I'm not gonna be like, astaghfirullah, and walk out, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, maybe I don't do music, but maybe there's something else that I do that somebody else will call haram. That's what I do, right? Because none of us are perfect, and everybody has that thing that they do. I don't believe, for me, if I am doing something and I know that, and I believe that there's clear proof that thing that you're doing is not permissible, then to me, it's not cognitive dissonance. It's just, I'm not there yet. Do you understand what I'm saying, right? Maybe Allah will bring me to that place where I don't do it no more. But for right now, that's where I'm at. And everybody's responsible for their own journey. Maybe I can give a word directed to the right, but it's really not my job.
Hijabi one. Ooh. Can we?
You're trolling. You're trolling.
Okay, so
is it trolling? I don't know. I think she really believes this. So
the level of judgment. I just want to say,
this is one of those things where that's a helper when you start to say those things. Just like if you tell a sister, why don't you just take off the hijab so you can stop doing that, please? Thank you.
Yeah. But listen.
What were you gonna say, Leslie?
People have to be able, in the same way that you want to be able to express your opinion, you have to allow people to express their opinion, right? You don't have to wear it. It's not your jacket. Don't wear it. You leave it where it is, because the reality of it is, right, is that everybody has the right to have an opinion. And when you put yourself on screen, then you put yourself in a position where somebody can say something. They're either going to say something that you like, or they're going to say something that you dislike. You don't jump all over them. That's their right.
Who's jumping all over anybody? First of all, we're addressing her comments. She has some comments. They seem very strongly opinionated, and I got some strong opinions too that I wanted to address as well. I'm not attacking nobody. I don't feel like she's attacking me. If she is, I mean, that's her problem. I don't think that, but it don't really matter. I said, can we address these comments? Because she keep going. So let's go.
No, and this conservative Islam insults anybody who disagrees. That's where the real insult is coming from. This conservative hardline Islam. And I just want to say for the record that there might be somebody watching this show who has not yet come to Islam, and your comments, Hijabi one, might be turning that person away. And that's your judgment day. That's your judgment day. Let me deal with my judgment day. Let the rest of us deal with our judgment day. But to sit up and say things like, y'all are the reason, what's wrong with Islam today? I mean, come on. Who are you? Who is you? You know what I'm saying? You're better than me? You're better than the rest of us? I mean, that's probably the most un-Islamic thing that I've seen said while we've been doing this show. This is completely un-Islamic.
Yeah. I'm dancing to Leslie's words right now. That was
it's not about representing the opposite opinion. You came on, you did not just represent the opposite opinion. Wait, let me speak, Khalida.
Yeah.
You came on and you said, y'all are what's wrong with Islam today. That is a judgment. That is an admonition. That is acting like you're standing right next to Allah and the rest of us are really far away. Come on. Get out of here with that. This is not sisterly. It's not about disagreeing with your opposite opinion. We have opposite opinions amongst us that are in this group, right? It's about you coming on here and attacking a whole bunch of people that you don't even know. You don't know me.
And that was an important question. That's why I wanted us to address it, because she kept going with more and more comments. We didn't even get to answer her first question to begin with when she did ask that, how much Quran do you read? Because I can tell you right now, I read the Quran often. And guess what? When I make the intention to read the Quran, I get exactly what I need from it. So don't tell me that Quran can't live in my heart and music can't either.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And speaking of that, I would actually like to go to the next video of Kenny Muhammad. Can you please roll that clip?
Assalamu alaikum. Happy Savior's Day. Well, we know Islam is mathematics and mathematics is Islam, so I'm going to break it down to you in human beatbox vocal percussion form.
Okay. So yeah, I wanted to show that and to address the video that we just watched with about beatboxing being haram.
Yo, people, stop telling us to relax. First off, go ahead, Habiba.
Yeah, and I want to address that too. To say, we need to handle things with grace. That's like white people telling black people, tone policing us, like, oh, you said that in an angry way, so like I'm not going to listen to you. Your criticism is invalid because I don't like how you're saying that to me. Like,
the same way you guys are getting passionate in these comments is the same way we're getting passionate in response to it.
Exactly.
So don't get mad.
We're going to give you that same energy back, sweetie. Don't even worry about it.
But you can give the same energy back, but I just don't agree that, regardless of whether somebody, even if you feel like someone has disrespected you, right? We don't need to disrespect anyone. Right? Because at the end of the day, that what we have to do is set an example of how to communicate in a way that is not disrespectful, because that is what is wrong with this.
And nothing that we said was disrespectful.
Nothing we said
was disrespectful.
What is wrong with Islam is that people cannot be on different pages and communicate in a way that does not deteriorate into.
But that was them. That was Hijabi One coming at us.
And yeah, but just because she came at you like that, don't mean that you have to go there with her.
We didn't go there with her.
Nobody went on her level.
Exactly. We're just pointing out that she needs to take accountability for what she was saying, and I don't see anything wrong with that. So go off, Leslie. We support you over here. But that leads me to my next question of whether or not it's okay to dance. And I feel like this is an important question because to me it's very gendered, right? I see all these, what is it? The dubke dance that Arab men do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see all these videos of them doing it. But the minute a hijabi do a little shoulder shake, all of a sudden it's taboo. And like, so like, what are our thoughts about, dancing? Because to me also like, that is a very like African spiritual thing as well. So like, yeah, what are our thoughts on that?
This kind of leads into my bag story, actually. So,
I mean,
we could go with it or not.
I don't believe that dancing is okay in front of, in public.
For both men and women.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, I don't even know if I don't care, but, and I guess men and women. Yeah. I just don't think that. My concept of dancing and how I would dance before I became Muslim, that's not something that's not even something that I want anybody to watch me do.
So not dancing at all, or just not the kind of dancing that you were doing back in the day?
I mean, dancing in public, I feel, is inappropriate.
Even for working out.
This is inappropriate, huh?
Well, I mean, if you consider that dancing, then I guess my definition of
dancing is dance. You are moving your body to the sound of music.
It's not moving your shoulders.
It's whatever.
Okay. So if that's what you want to define as dancing, then what can I say?
Okay. Well, if dancing is only something that you consider inappropriate, then I would say that that's a very limited form of dancing.
Yeah.
And again.
Yeah. So I had this conversation with my husband, and it was a hard situation, right? Because I grew up in a household where my mom, she had me going to dance since I was 3 to keep me active and to get those motor skills going. Because as a teaching artist now, I'm like one of the only Muslims in where I work, and it's like movement is a part of everyday life for motor skills. There are different types of motor skills, and that is not limited. It's like okay, what does a banana look like? And then the kids might get into the shape of a banana. How to use distinct high and low from frequency sound. High, low, like they might go up and they might drop down, and they're like kids. So I mean, a lot of the time this is the issue as well, is that there's a lot of things that is haram that could possibly, not haram like in a logistical sense, but haram that Muslims say, haram policing, this is the law, but at the same time, I see a lot of Muslims that do not get off of their behinds and move their bodies, and they may be obese. Is that Islam? Like, is that Islamic? Maybe they could actually be moving in their home. And sis, I don't know if some people agree with this, but like, maybe it's not okay to do it in public if that's, something that you feel like is not a good thing because your husband might get jealous or whatever. But movement, we're talking about frequencies and movement. If we take off these words, dancing, and what the Western world has actually made them to be at their bare and their core, these are things that we do. I rock back and forth when I'm doing dhikr in my tariqah. Like I rock back and forth. I'm saying, what are we really talking? Are we?
But is walking back and forth considered? See, I don't consider doing this.
Excuse me,
dancing.
I'm not finished. Sorry, I don't mean to disrespect you, sis. I just wanted to finish my point, and then you can have the floor. But the Prophet Muhammad said that if you are making this deen hard, then you're not practicing Islam. Some people need to gradually, because then if you see a sister covering or you know, you just telling her, oh my God, that all of that modesty is haram. She's gonna take off her hijab and leave Islam. You have to be gentle, meet people where they're at. If you really are saying this like with a full heart, you know, you love someone, the way you approach it is with all sides. You don't approach it like you don't approach it subjectively. It's just, I can't. It's just like, I don't understand.
But just because I say that you don't dance publicly, I don't understand why you're taking offense to what I've said or taking it personal, right?
No,
I've said this.
Offense to what you said. I wasn't taking offense to what you said.
Okay.
I don't think you heard anything I said if you think I took offense to what you said.
No, because what you're saying is that it goes in, people do it in stages, right? People go through different stages. And I agree that people go through different stages and they arrive at their place they arrive at different places at different times, right? But at the same time, to me, I don't believe that shaking your shoulders. I don't consider shaking your shoulders.
Did you see Triniana's comment, Sister Khalida? Because it just said all she did was whoa and did some arm movement. That's it. And she had the attention of her class for the rest of the day. That was considered a dance move, though.
Well, I don't consider that a dance move. I don't consider
Habiba, like
to be a dance.
Dancing is moving to the music. It's moving to the sound of the music. It's moving to the sound of just sounds. Okay, it doesn't even have to be this traditional set of music. Like I can hear my heartbeat, and me and my friends can make our own beat from whatever. And
so going like this is
I understand what Sister Khalida is saying, because she's saying like if it's done in a haram way, like, and I understood what you were saying, so I didn't get offended. So I was like, okay. Sis is talking about the yardie parties. You talking about the yardie parties, the wild parties. I understand. That
right. I'm like twerking, like
what you're talking about. Right.
You know,
you talking about all the reggae joints, all the parties. You talking about the.
And I'm Jamaican, okay? So trust me when I say, like I'm Jamaican.
I know what you're talking about.
Something totally different to me. When we used to dance in the club, we used to go home with wallpaper on our clothes, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why
we be sweating and like it was erotic. It was intimate.
Thank you, Hamza, for that.
That's culturally, I understand that.
So it seems like, for you, Sister Khalida, dancing has a different cultural context to it. And for other people, it doesn't necessarily have those same ties, because Arabs dance, right? Pakistanis dance, right? A lot of people, Muslim majority cultures do dance. But I wanted to look at Hamza's comment. He said the Prophet ﷺ famously sat at Aisha on his leg as they watched Abyssinian dancers, and he ﷺ did not say it was haram. The Prophet ﷺ was greeted by Jafar doing a traditional African dance. So just because Arabs didn't do it, or because Arabs associated music and dancing possibly with like sinful things, right? That was their culture. They associated. So that kind of sounds like what you're saying, Sister Khalida. And so, and that kind of will kind of lead us into our bag story, essentially. And I just wanted to say one more thing. Yes, Aisha wasn't dancing because that wasn't her culture, right? But they sat there and watched it. So interestingly enough, this hijabi one person seems like they're coming over here to kind of like try to stir the pot, but I do want to be mindful that we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're representing ourselves, and we never claim to be like this entity of like Islam. First of all, you're watching us, so that says a lot that you're watching us. If you don't like something that we're saying, you can easily click off, but we do invite people to
say that.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, I like these comments.
But you know what? It's the intention of how you say things, though. It really is. Like, I don't know if they had a traumatic experience.
That's positive. That's input. And everybody's free.
No, that's fine.
But we want the input, but we're saying don't be upset when we come back with the smoke, and it's not disrespectful. The whole premise of the show is for us to be able to have these fire conversations with everybody, even the commentators.
My whole thing is, when you're trying to say that something is or is not Islam, how dare you go and like judge? You know what I mean? Like you're sitting here trying to say we don't represent Islam, but look at the comments that you're making, the mean, nasty comments that you're making that are full of judgment. So yeah, shame on you. Anyway, I want to go to our backstory. Yeah, so Rob, play that clip.
Gonna show the backstory.
And I teach Zumba. Freshman year was my first Zumba class here at Simmons. I went to that class for 2 years and it helped with my self-confidence. My absolute favorite thing is hearing people come to me afterwards and saying that they got more confidence because of my classes.
So it was a short clip, huh?
I said you cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I just want to say I turned Zumba into an all-out thing at my college. And getting started, I honestly, real quick, it's okay. We're fine. I'm just saying, I can't speak for everybody else. I'm saying when I speak passionately in response to a comment, don't take it personal. Just like I'm not taking your comments personal. I'm just fired up. That's how I speak when I'm passionate about something. So it is what it is. And you guys are cool with me at the end of the day. But back to my backstory. So I did not know that I could dance for real. I loved music all of my life. I told you guys that. But I really did not know that I could dance at all. So when I was introduced to Zumba in college, I started out in the back of the classes. And then over the span of 2 years, I ended up at the front of the classes because it helped bring something in me that I just never had or I didn't see that I had. But I had a natural talent for it. I have a natural ability to connect with people. And that was a great outlet for me for all the stress that I was dealing with trying to be a nurse, okay? I needed those Zumba classes after a test or after anything that was stressful for me. It was just, that was my only release. And when the classes were canceled, what happened was me and my friend, only one other person, me and my friend, we would save the songs from the Zumba classes before, and we would just do whatever songs that we remembered. And that's really how I got into being a Zumba instructor, just having fun, right? Just needed a release for the stress. That's it. And these were songs I didn't even understand what they were saying for real because they were in other languages, honestly. But just with us two, turned into 3 people, and then it turned into 156 people as my biggest class within about 3 or 4 months, okay? And it just grew naturally. But when I tell you that we felt electric in that class, I mean it. We felt the energy from everybody. And it wasn't much that we had to do because when you're around people like that and you are hearing music like that you feel in your body, you don't have to sing, you don't have to talk, you don't have to do anything but just move. That's something that you can't really get anywhere else. You can't get that from anything other than music. You really can't. But that's pretty much it. My school had to start giving people tickets. People were lining up outside of class an hour before just so that they can get in here because it released the stress. Sometimes we just need to release things, guys.
But the Zumba class, was the point the music or was the point the Zumba, the exercise?
It was to release stress. So,
right. So the point was the exercise, right? Because that's what Zumba is about, right? It's about
when I started, it was, but no, it's not actually about that anymore. So it's about me connecting with myself. Actually, it's a form of meditation for me. So,
and music does drive it, that type of exercise,
Yeah, right. It does. It can give you energy boost.
Yeah.
But Yeah,
I mean, the reason why I mean, my concept, I've done Zumba, right? And it's a workout. It's a way to keep you in that energy, right? For that workout, for that burn, and the beat is what keeps you because your movements are in sync with, right? Do you know what I'm saying? So to me, the driving it's not, because you're not going to go to a Zumba class to sit down in the back and listen to music. You go to the Zumba class to work out.
You go to the Zumba class to dance, because dancing literally gets you in that mode of meditative state.
And why are you doing it?
So like somebody just asked, how is energy a form of iman? What? Energy has everything to do with that. How do you not connect that?
You're there to work out and lose weight or get fit or keep fit.
That's for you. You exercise. You use Zumba as exercise. I just told you I don't. I use it as a meditative exercise, okay? Not physical exercise. I don't want to do that.
I also think that, because I'm a former dancer, trained in dance, when you realize the strength of your body, for me, that brings me closer to Allah, right? That I'm amazed at what Allah has allowed my body to be able to do for me, right? I mean, that's just part of my dance experience. So
amazed at how your body can move very smoothly without any effort, for real. Like, there's natural talents like that. So God gave you those talents.
That reminds me of an article I saw. Like, a mom heard like her child screaming or crying, and like he was like trapped under a car, and she like lifted the car up. Like,
yes, the adrenaline.
Arms. Yeah. So like you get that adrenaline when you hear certain sounds that just trigger that response. But I want to say thank you so much to my amazing co-hosts. And I would like to end this video.
Thank you, Menno Mom. Thank you.
I would like to end this video on a positive note. So Rob, if you could play that last clip.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down. Can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Happy.
Yeah, and that was in the UK, by the way.
Yeah, because of course it was in the UK. I'm just saying.
But I wanted to end that on that note because we were talking about music/dancing, and to me that song gives positive vibrations. It makes me feel happy feelings. So of course I'm gonna do a little shimmy shake to that song. But thank you so much, ladies, for giving us your time and your
Thank you, Boshia, for being here.
Thank you, Boshia,
for being here. And thank you for our commenters. It's all love, Hijabi One.
Hijabi One, I love your comments. Keep them coming. I'm on your side.
Yeah, obviously Khalid is on your side.
We want you at the next show.
The side of judgment.
We want you at the next show, Hijabi. Please join us. Okay. Join us next week, Hijabi One, for one of our last shows for this season finale at 1 p.m. next week. So stay
comment,
tuned.
like, subscribe, share.
Asma wasn't here today, but she'll be back next week bringing her fire to the show. So don't worry, we haven't lost her. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdihi. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
Glory is to you, O Allah, and praises to you. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship but you. I seek your forgiveness and repent to you. Ameen.
Ameen. Yeah, may Allah guide us all. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum,
Assalamu
guys.
alaikum.
Jazakallah khair, Boshia. It was lovely having you.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you.
Alaikum salam.
From our home to yours, this is The Bag.